We will now reconvene in council chambers. City Attorney announcement, please.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, there is no announcement of a closed session
All right,
this evening.
thank you then. We are now adjourned. And now we will begin this meeting in a minute, and we will start with the invocation by Mayor Pro Tem Paz Ayala.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. As we gather this evening, I would like us to take a moment to reflect on what our community experienced yesterday in the early hours. Now that the flames are gone, the embers are cold, and the smoke has begun to clear, we can see more clearly what has been lost. The fire on Main Street took more than buildings. It affected businesses built through the years of hard work, places filled with memories, and a part of historic Newhall that holds a very special place in the story of Santa Clarita. Tonight, our hearts remain with every business owner, employee, family, and neighbor who has been affected. But in the midst of that loss, we also witnessed the very best of our community. We are deeply grateful to our firefighters and first responders who worked tirelessly to protect lives, surrounding businesses, and our community. We thank them and their families for their sacrifices they make every day to keep us safe. We are grateful for the community that is offering hand of help too. Moments like these remind us that while buildings can be damaged and treasured places can be lost, the heart of our community is found in its people. May we remember and honor what was there before. May we have compassion for those facing the difficult work ahead. And may we have the wisdom and the strength to stand beside them as they rebuild. Most importantly, may we move forward with hope, knowing that Santa Clarita has always been a community that comes together when one or our own needs us. May we be guided tonight by gratitude, compassion, wisdom, and renewed commitment to take care of one another. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor Pro Tem. We will now call this meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman McLean? Here. Councilmember Gibbs?
Here.
Mayor West?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala?
Here.
And Councilmember Miranda?
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem, would you please conduct the flag salute?
Thank you. Can you please rise and join me to pledge allegiance to the most beautiful flag? Put your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. We'll start with the executive meeting. Council, do you have any questions on this agenda? Okay. And is there any items that you need to pull from the agenda? No? Do we have any speaker cards?
We have no requests for items on consent.
Okay. We will now then proceed to awards and recognitions, and we will start with Councilman Jason Gibbs. 1,000 books read before kindergarten.
Yes,
Recognition.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Mayor. Tonight, we're celebrating the Santa Clarita Public Library's 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program and the young readers who have reached this wonderful milestone. This year-round program gives our youngest residents a chance to discover the joy of reading while helping parents, caregivers, and teachers build strong early literacy skills from the very beginning. Completing 1,000 books is quite an accomplishment for any reader, and reaching that goal before kindergarten is something these children should be especially proud of. Along the way, families were encouraged to explore 5 important early literacy activities: singing, talking, reading, writing, and playing, all of which help children build the skills they'll carry with them into school and beyond. And while 1,000 books may sound like a big number, when you are a parent, you quickly realize how achievable it can really be. We all know how easily a bedtime story can turn into 2, 3, or even 5 books a night. Those little moments of reading together do really add up. For parents, it's also a wonderful reminder that some of the simplest things that we all do each and every day, sitting down with our children, reading a book, and spending a few minutes together, can have such a lasting impact. So tonight, we are proud to recognize each of the children who completed 1,000 books before kindergarten and celebrate the time, effort, and love of reading that went into reaching this goal. And we also want to recognize one of our special participants, Jericho Shahin, who unfortunately could not join us tonight. Jericho recently began treatment for leukemia and is spending this time with his family at the hospital. Jericho, your strength and courage are an inspiration. And I would now like to recognize all of the participants who completed 1,000 books before kindergarten. Would you all please join us at the dais with your parents to receive your certificates and take a photo to mark this wonderful achievement?
I told you.
That was awesome.
I told you. You gotta love it. As much as I applaud the kids, but the parents help do that.
Congratulations! Keep on reading! You look so cute today. No, bye. Oh, has a Sammy Clarita. They're giving me Clarita. That is so cute. Yeah.
See what came up to the front row. I think we're ready to restart the meeting. All right, our second recognition tonight is a very special one. Very special one. So tonight, the city of Santa Clarita would like to recognize two people that we're very proud of. They're extraordinary members of this community. Their strength, their resilience, and their compassion has touched thousands and thousands of lives. Those people are Alice and Tom Reynolds. The Reynolds have dedicated themselves to turning unimaginable loss into a legacy of hope and learning for our community. 26 years ago, Alice and Tom experienced a tragedy no parent should ever have to endure. They had the tragic loss of their two sons, Timothy and Daniel, in a traffic collision. In the face of an unspeakable tragedy, Alice and Tom chose to honor the lives of their beloved sons by helping others. Through their courage, they became the advocates for safe driving, reminding young people that one decision behind that wheel can change lives forever. And Alice and Tom helped establish the city's Blue Ribbon Task Force. This has led to the creation of the Santa Clarita Youth Grove, located in Central Park. The Youth Grove is a place of reflection and of remembrance. This is for families who've experienced the loss of a young loved one in a traffic-related incident. This year marks the 20th anniversary of the Youth Grove. The Youth Grove is a powerful reminder of the impact their vision continues to have on our community. Their unwavering commitment to honoring the memories of those they have lost while working tirelessly to prevent other families from having that same experience. The heartbreak experiencing the same heartbreak, it is an extraordinary gift they have given Santa Clarita. We'd now like to invite the community to join us on Tuesday, stuck together. We invite our community to join us Tuesday, August 26th, for the annual evening remembrance at Central Park. This ceremony honors the young lives lost in traffic-related incidents and will serve as a powerful reminder of the importance of safe and responsible driving. So on behalf of the City of Santa Clarita, we extend our deepest gratitude to Alice and Tom Reynolds and for their remarkable service in their enduring compassion and their steadfast commitment to making our community safer for future. So we'd now like to have Alice and Tom please come up to the dais and let us honor you. Let's take our picture. I've known Tom and Alice through this whole entire 20 years, and with heartfelt gratitude, you have helped save lives, and you have made a difference in Santa Clarita. And tomorrow night, we will all gather together at the Youth Grove. So I want you to invite people to the Youth Grove and tell them what you think.
It's been a long 26 years that our sons were killed, Tim 18 and Danny 15, by that reckless teen driver. That night, 4 teens were killed, and an adult driver. It's been a long 26 years. The pain never, ever goes away, and I try to tell the teens and the community that it's painful, and it's heartbreaking. So I just try to get that message across to teens and the community, adult drivers as well. And one of those is tomorrow night at the Evening of Remembrance, where we walk through the park with pictures, or not pictures, our names of our children. And we walk through the park, and then we come back to the Youth Grove, and their pictures are shown on the slideshow and their names. It's painful, and tears are flowing, but the teens need to see that. So I welcome anybody to come up there and see that. And I want to thank the city for doing this for 20 years. It's good for the parents to be there and see their children's faces and hear their name. So thank you again for the city for always putting on this program.
Say what time it starts.
The walk starts at 7:15. It lasts for just about 10 minutes through the park, and then we come back to the Youth Grove, and then the program starts. And it's probably about a half hour long or so. Thank you again.
I'd like to add something. We started with 62 names.
61.
61? I'm going to correct it again. 53 years, I guess. We now have 126 names up there now.
Way too many.
The teens cannot say, it can't happen to me. It can't happen to us.
Thank you.
The Reynolds family has been stalwart, and they have never given up trying to help other parents save their children from the terrible pain and extreme loss. And I don't know any two people that have given more from the heart than Thomas Ellis Reynolds. And we all share their sorrow, and we all care about the love that they are trying to give to everyone in this community. So we thank them. So if you can, please come to the Youth Grove. It's memorable, it's heartfelt, and it may save other families' loss, and their children matter. And there's not a parent that when their children starts driving or they're out there with friends in cars that they don't worry, none of them. So to all of you, we hope to see as many of you as can tomorrow. So thank you very much. Let us move on to Mayor Pro Tem Patsy Ayala. She has a Gilchrist Farm anniversary.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight, the city of Santa Clarita is proud to recognize a special milestone for one of our community's favorite destinations for residents of all ages, Gilchrist Farm. Located in the Vasquez Canyon, Gilchrist Farm has become a beloved part of Santa Clarita Valley, offering families the opportunity to enjoy outdoors, experience farm life, and create lasting memories together. Gilchrist Farm has done an incredible job preserving the agricultural heritage of the Santa Clarita Valley while introducing new generations to the traditions of farm life. Whether it's feeding goats, visiting the dogs, chickens, pigs, sheep, cows, and bunnies, or say hello to the giant African sulcata tortoise and the beautiful peacocks, every visit offers something special. Gilchrist Farm also keeps the pioneer spirit alive through hands-on activities such as gold panning, allowing children and families to learn about traditions from the past while creating new memories together. It's these kinds of experiences that inspire curiosity, learning, and greater appreciation for our local history. They have become an important part of our community, giving the families opportunities to connect with one another and enjoy the simple joys of being outdoors. And speaking of family traditions, I hope you will make plans to visit the annual Farm Harvest Festival and Pumpkin Patch, happening September 26th through November 1st. I know I'll be there picking out a pumpkin as every year, and I definitely won't miss the pig race. That is so much fun. They truly represent the best of our community, preserving our heritage, connecting residents with nature, and creating meaningful experiences for generations to enjoy. Please join me in congratulating them on this wonderful 10-year milestone and thanking everyone there for the lasting impact they have made in our community. Thank you so much for all the good memories, incredible times that you have been bringing to the families of Santa Clarita. Please, I would like now to invite Monica and Jim to the dais to receive the recognition and take a photo. And if you want to take any family member, if they are with you. So come and join us. 10 years.
Evan's going to stand in for Jim.
Okay, well, let's take a picture, and then you can speak a little bit about the farm. All right. Nice, thank you. Oh, thanks. All right, let's all huddle up.
Okay, come on up.
All right, let's have everyone squeeze in, please.
Come on in.
Come on in, get over here. We all like each other. We're good.
All right, big smiles for Sean. In 3, 2, 1. One more. 3, 2, 1.
All right, who's speaking?
I'll speak.
Okay, we'll give that to you. You hold, I'll speak.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. I'm going to use that for all of our future PR. I just want to say thank you so much. The people here, and there are more out there, have entirely made Gilchrist Farm what it is today. We started groups of friends at Cub Scout meetings, making the plans for birthday parties. The family, these are my parents right here, my daughter, my son, my sister-in-law. Everybody has made incredible sacrifices to turn Gilchrist Farm into what it is today. This year, on our 10th anniversary summer camp, we had more teens than 8-year-olds because they've stayed with us all these years. And to me, that was an incredible, incredible blessing. We're thrilled to be able to be a part of this community, and we thank you all so much for supporting us.
Let's give them a round of applause. Congratulations, and just keep going another 10.
Thank you.
Keep doing it. We love
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you. Very important. If you haven't had your kids out there or your teens, or you haven't been out there, please go. You'll find it very special. It's a wonderful part of our community, a great resource. I would now like to do a recognition that will honor Southern California Gas and the important role that the Honor Rancho storage facility plays in supporting Santa Clarita and Greater Los Angeles. Recently went to the opening of the Honor Rancho new facility and to look at the infrastructure they're putting in of storing natural gas during periods of lower demand and providing it when demand increases, which becomes really important at certain times of the year. This is going to help ensure reliable energy delivery and support resiliency in our region of natural gas and electric systems. Recently, I had the opportunity to participate there and watch the modernization project. This is an important investment in the future of our community. This is going to replace aging compressor infrastructure. That modern equipment is expected to reduce smog-forming pollutants emissions, and this new equipment will reduce the pollutants by 95%, which is a really huge number, and it will strengthen reliability and support compliance with regional air and quality regulations. So this is really groundbreaking. This is a significant investment. Will also provide economic benefit here in Santa Clarita. It's approximately 170 staff and construction personnel are currently working on the project, and that number will be expected to increase to over 400 between 2027 and 2029. These workers will be working in our community, staying in our restaurant, eating in our restaurants, staying in our hotels, and supporting business throughout Santa Clarita. So the city of Santa Clarita is very proud to recognize SoCal Gas and the Honor Rancho team for investing in cleaner technology, reliable energy infrastructure, and our local economy. On behalf of the city of Santa Clarita, we'd like you to come up and we can present you with a scroll and congratulations. And we look forward to seeing the compressor modernization project take shape in the years ahead.
Congratulations. Thank you.
So who wants to hold it? You're in the middle. You're in the middle, okay.
All right, let's have everyone squeeze in a little bit more. Big smiles, looking right here. In 3, 2, 1. One more. In 3, 2, 1.
I'm going to ask a couple of you to make some comments about this. And I think it was really wonderful. I was there and I was impressed. And anytime we can get infrastructure improvements in energy and it's 95% cleaner, that's a win for everybody. So who's going to speak? Go.
Thank you, Mary West. My name is Devin Zornizer. I'm Vice President of our Project Delivery Group for SoCal Gas, and it's an honor. Thank you, Mayor, for coming, and thank you, City Council. I want to thank Ken Strickland for all your support and your staff support for making this project possible. It's been years in the making, and as the Mayor said, it's 95% reduction in smog-forming emissions. And personally, this is important for me. I'm a resident of Santa Clarita. This is important for myself, for my family, and it's great to have a project that I can support in my community. I'm in your district, Councilwoman. And, it's great for SoCal Gas to be a partner with the city of Santa Clarita, as well as the 150 employees that live and work here every day. So thank you to Mayor and the city for your partnership and alignment. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? No. No one else wants to speak. Well, I will tell you this is a remarkable project, and we're very proud. We've gone through lots of energy issues the last few years, and we support those that are going to make it better for our community. And I know your family lives here, and you live here, and a lot of your employees, and it's good for all of us. So it's got the merits, and we think it's a blessing to have that improvement. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank
Go gal.
We will now move into public participation. Okay, we will start with Jim Debris, who will be followed by Marcos Montoya, who will be followed by Omar Riza. So if you'd all start moving up toward the front. And Jim Debris, you're speaking first. Thank you, sir. Those of you that call your name, would you come up toward the front so you're ready to go to the microphone?
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight. I live in the Valencia Summit neighborhood, which is just west of here. It's basic for if you're not familiar with the area, it's northwest of McBean, south of Valencia, up to Rockwell Canyon. And as the name implies with the summit, it's built in a hilly area. And the way the summit is laid out, the access is through two roads that form a horseshoe, Arroyo Parkway and Del Monte. And both roads wind through hilly areas, and there are numerous blind corners. The speed limit on each road is 35 miles an hour, and the city has designated these roads as alternative emergency routes in the event that Valencia Boulevard or McBean Parkway are closed down. And so they won't put stop signs or speed bumps or anything. The problem we have is that people who don't live in the summit drive through the summit at high speeds. I'm told that Waze now directs traffic through those streets, and I walk every morning on those streets, and there are cars just flying by. I see cars going 50 to 60 miles an hour in a 35 mile an hour zone, and this is becoming the neighborhood is just getting more upset about it. The problem is compounded because we've got cars that are illegally parked at the intersection of Parkview Road, and it's making a right turn onto Del Monte is very treacherous. Cars park there illegally. They park blocking crosswalks. They park in front of fire hydrants. I saw one parking on my way over here today. So in the old days, we used to have, sheriffs who were, with the radar guns, and we had the signs saying, speed limit 35 miles an hour. We haven't seen any of that in a long time. And our HOA and the neighborhood have sent many emails to the traffic department, and the response was, well, we'll look into it, we'll study it, we'll get back to you. Meanwhile, the problem continues. They said there'd be more police enforcement. To date, nobody's seen anything. So I guess what I'm asking you for here tonight is, and I'm sure the other neighbors would be with me saying that, we'd like to respectfully request that the City Council look into this and see if there's some way that the remediation of the traffic problems can be expedited and something happens. I had specifically asked if they could put warning signs before the blind corners telling people to slow down. But anyway, if anything that the City Council could do would be most appreciated. And again, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak tonight.
Thank you, Jim. Our next speaker will be Marcos Montoya.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Marcos Montoya. I'm a resident of Newhall, and I want to address two issues tonight, surveillance and development. Firstly, I remain strongly opposed to the continuation expansion of flock and axon surveillance technology in our community. In 2024, the council approved more than $500,000 of 35 flock license plate reader cameras. My concern is bigger than whether these cameras occasionally help solve a crime. The question is, how much surveillance are we willing to accept in our everyday lives? When residents can drive through their own neighborhoods and have their vehicles, locations, and movements recorded simply because they passed a camera, we need to seriously discuss privacy and the Fourth Amendment. Last year in San Diego, Hiro Parra was arrested in connection with a violent crime after police relied partly on the flock camera hit. But the flock data itself showed that the vehicle he was riding in was approximately 5 miles away from the crime scene at the relevant time. Parra maintained his innocence, yet he spent nearly a month in jail before charges were dropped. He and the vehicle's owners have now filed a federal civil rights lawsuit against the city of San Diego. Parra describes his experience as essentially being treated as guilty until proven innocent, and that should concern every one of us. The technology never replaces common sense, due process, or the presumption of innocence. There must be transparency about who accesses this information, how long it is stored, who is it shared with, and what safeguards exist when the technology gets something wrong. My second concern is development. After the devastating fire in Old Town Newhall, we're already discussing rebuilding and what comes next. Of course, we should rebuild, but development throughout Santa Clarita raises another question. When is enough housing enough? Before adding thousands more residents, we need to make sure infrastructure can actually support them. Our roads, traffic, Henry Mayo emergency room capacity, fire emergency response, water, electricity, school, and basic city services. Housing cannot be planned in isolation. If the population grows faster than the infrastructure supporting it, existing residents today pay the price through congestion, overcrowded services, and a lower quality of life. I'm asking this council to put the residents first. On surveillance, protect our constitutional rights and privacy. On development, make infrastructure capacity a priority before approving more density, not after the problem arrives. Santa Clarita should grow responsibly, not simply grow for the sake of growing. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we don't allow applause in this council chamber. We do serious business, and we're happy to hear you, and we'd like you to just listen to the speakers. We're going to listen to everyone, and we thank you. But please don't applaud. We'd like the meeting to move forward as it normally does. So thank you very much. Our next speaker will be Omar Risa.
Good evening, Council. My name is Omar Riza, and I live in Valencia, and today I'd like to discuss the flock cameras. So nowadays, you can't really talk about flock without mentioning exes due to the whole stalker controversy that I'm sure you've all heard about, and I think that that personally fits, because a lot of the same words come to mind when I think of both of them. Manipulative, goes behind your back, weirdly always has your location. When in a toxic relationship, everyone needs a best friend to say, hey, I don't like your boyfriend. And so today, I'd like to be that for you, Council, to help you dump your toxic boyfriend, Flock. First of all, he is a massive cheater. He'll wine and dine a local government and say, no, baby, we're exclusive. I'd never date a federal government agency. You're perfect for me. This is something that they claim on their actual website, but according to the Miami Herald, the Federal Wildlife Commission goes out with him on the regular, pulling surveillance to keep tabs on their opponents who criticize their environmental policies. But Flock's infidelity has even more dire consequences than that. According to 404 Media, they cite that the Federal Wildlife Commission uses this access that they have to share with ICE. Now, whether or not you support ICE, that detracts entirely from my point. What I'm essentially getting at here is that there is a federal agency, a federal authority that has access to the surveillance system, and that is inherently dystopian. Second of all, he uses weaponized incompetence in his relationships. The Electronic Frontier Foundation called him out for unlawful search and seizure. They recently installed microphones to detect screaming voices, but upon being told that that broke several wiretapping laws, they rebranded the feature to distress detection instead, thereby circumventing all of that. Now, I won't get too much into his mistreatment and abuse of women because other speakers I know are going to attest to that. But his false advertising so often keeps on the down low that any authorized personnel can access these surveillance features at home on their phones with an app. Your boyfriend is enabling the mistreatment of women. Lastly, he abuses second chances. We've all heard before, wait, baby, I've changed, but that's just performative. Regularly, he has lied about having affiliations with the American Civil Liberties Union and their blessing to seem more moral when sealing the deal with local governments, such as our county. In addition, he also says that he's implemented safety systems. All of that is behind him in order to avoid warrantless search like stalking. But MIT Tech Review points out massive loopholes in these safety systems, like using fake case numbers, or what they've actually done in Texas, mislabeling an abortion case as a missing persons incident to get access to that information. He doesn't want to get better, he just wants you to think that he has. He's a manipulative cheater, a two-faced idiot, a creepy womanizer, and he doesn't know how to change. Dump him already. Block, flock. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker will be Rishi, and I'm going to just spell it, Rishi, Jaligama.
Good evening, Council. My name is Rishi Jaligama. I live in Valencia, and I'm also here to talk about flock cameras. So as we all know, in November of 2024, this Council approved a 2-year contract for flock cameras, and it's going to expire this November, hopefully. And I'm asking for you guys to let this contract expire. Do not replace it with any new contract from Flock or any other surveillance system. My concern is privacy. This technology operates in a legal environment with very little regulation. There is no comprehensive federal statute governing what a private company may do with the location data it collects on every driver who passes beneath its cameras. What currently protects residents is not law. It's a corporate privacy policy, one that can be revised at any time by a company that we cannot hold accountable. These cameras do not simply enforce traffic law. Each one photographs, timestamps, and stores information on every vehicle that passes, including the make, model, color, and distinguishing features of the car. Over time, this builds detailed records of where residents travel and how often. That record is retained in a database that isn't just stored locally, but is also managed by a private company with no transparency. The deeper concern is what happens to that data once it exists. Flock Safety states that they don't sell customer data. However, the whole industry operates with minimal external auditing. The history of commercial data handling gives reason for caution. Just this month, a coalition of privacy advocates filed a formal complaint asking a state attorney general to investigate several license plate reader companies, including Flock, for collecting and selling location information. Regardless of how that investigation concludes, it illustrates a structural problem. Once this kind of data is collected at scale, there is very little standing between it and a sketchy data broker, and it raises the question, what is the actual purpose of ALPRs? Are they here to protect us, or are we the product being sold to data brokers? Several other municipalities have reached similar conclusions. Santa Cruz terminated its contract following data breaches. Mountain View and Santa Clara County ended their agreements after losing confidence in vendor oversight. These were not fringe decisions. They were made by local governments re-examining the same trade-off we face tonight. I am not asking anyone here to dismiss the value of public safety technology. I am asking for caution before renewing a contract that places the movements of every resident of this city into a system with limited regulation, limited transparency, and no meaningful mechanism for residents to consent or object. Please allow this contract to expire and do not replace it with a similar system. A surveillance network with no transparency and accountability is not safety. It's just bananas.
Our next speaker will be Riley Wamble. And following Riley will be Gracie Bell.
All right. Let's do this one last time. My name is Peter Parker, and I was bitten by a radioactive spider, and for the last 10 minutes, been the one and only Spider-Man. And in 2024, the city of Santa Clarita made a contract with Doc Ock's surveillance company, Flock. Using their cameras, they continuously log every passing vehicle, creating a searchable database of drivers without ever getting a warrant. According to the American Automobile Association Foundation for Traffic Safety, 94.2% of U.S. residents 16 and older drive at least occasionally, and 73 to 76% of commuters use their own car to get to work. Most people aren't even aware of the cameras, and they're already being, and many cities are, although many cities are starting to cancel their contracts with Doc Ock's Flock cameras due to public backlash, only to replace them with Oscorp's Axon cameras. As public servants, you are supposed to listen to your constituents, and as your constituents, we urge you not to renew our city's contract with Flock, and we ask you do not do the same thing with similar companies like Axon.
Thank you. Our next speaker will be Gracie Bell. Gracie will be followed by Charlotte Brown.
Good evening. First, I want to apologize for if I stutter or slip up on my speaking, as this is my first time speaking out in front of a big crowd or anyone really. My name is Gio Bell, and I am currently a senior at Valencia High School. I am standing here tonight speaking to you because I believe our city leaders have a responsibility to protect not only our physical safety, but also our privacy and our freedom to live our lives without constant surveillance. Flock cameras are supposed to make us safer, but when a system designed to combat crime can also be used to track innocent people, I want to ask you, where do you draw the line? This isn't just a hypothetical either. As you've probably heard, in August of 2026, the Washington Post investigated at least 50 law enforcement officers who were accused and or charged with misusing license plate reader systems, and Flock was involved in 46 of these 50 cases. Officers allegedly used the technology to monitor wives, girlfriends, exes, and other women that they were interested in pursuing. Imagine finding out that someone who was supposed to protect the people, supposed to protect you, had been secretly using a surveillance system to follow you without physically even being there. That's why this isn't just about cameras, it's about trust. I understand that police need tools to solve serious crimes, but safety should never mean giving up the basic expectation that innocent people can't move through their own city without being tracked. You have a responsibility to protect the welfare, the freedom, and the trust of the people who live here, including the young people who will inherit the community you shape today. Please don't make Flock surveillance the price of feeling safe. Thank you for your time and for listening.
Thank you very much. Charlotte Brown. Charlotte will be followed by, I believe it's Jason Lee. Go ahead.
Hello, Council. My name is Charlotte. I'm from Valencia. And despite the wave of distrust and hate we've seen towards Flock today, I would like to publicly advocate for the Council's renewal of the Flock contract. You see, Council, when I grow up, I want to be a deputy of the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department. And ever since I was a little girl, I've dreamed of having unlimited access to surveillance technology to keep tabs on my ex-boyfriends. And now, more than ever, that dream can come true. You see, for years, the only way you could stalk someone's location was by placing trackers on their vehicle or, I don't know, having a reasonable cause to access traffic cam data. Now with Flock, I don't need any of that. All I have to do as deputy sheriff is go on the Flock database, select a reason from a drop-down search menu, and I can find out exactly where my ex-boyfriends are, where they've been in the last 30 days, and I can search for that information as much as I want. The only auditing system that exists right now is Flock's own auditing, which thankfully hasn't been verified by any independent sources and has no means of prevention. And Santa Clarita has implemented no other means of auditing. I've really been inspired lately by stories of heroes who have stood fast against the tyranny of privacy and civil liberties. People like Cody Wayne Hall in Niceville, Florida, who ran 192 inappropriate searches to track a former romantic partner, texted her details about what she was wearing when she took her children to a public park, and said pretty much everybody misuses the computer system in the department, so it's totally okay. Or like Officer Elizabeth Snowman, who on August 17th of this year was criminally charged after using flock cameras to find her boyfriend's ex-wife. Talk about girl power! Oh, and if you think this is limited to just people who have been romantically involved with officers, think again. A sheriff's deputy in Florida named Lamar Roman used flock cameras to find an actress he'd met while working security, pulled her over with no reasonable cause, and almost caused a head-on collision. But what I love about Flock isn't just the access to the data, it's the threat of its presence. Eva Gallerpin, director of EFF Cybersecurity, told the Washington Post, the goal of the abuser is to make themselves seem omniscient and omnipotent. You don't have to be watching your victim all the time, they just have to believe at any moment you could be. That, in combination with the fact that stalking is already severely underreported and stalking increases the risk of intimate partner homicide by 3 times, there is an ever-present threat of violence against women in Santa Clarita. Yay! So why not spend $125,000 a year to renew this? What could go wrong? For the record, I'd like to state that all of the facts cited in my speech are entirely true. And to the council, I'd like you to imagine if the women I spoke of today were you, your wives, or your daughters. Because that feeling is an inescapable reality for millions of Americans. So remember that when you think about Flock and when you're getting reelected. Thank you.
Jayshawn Lee will be followed by Richard Passmore, followed by Andrea Polak.
My name is Jayshawn Lee. I'm the founder and lead organizer of the Flock SEV. In just the past month, we have recruited dozens of community residents to rally against all forms of mass surveillance, especially the current city contract with Flock Safety. Let me start by telling you something I found a couple of days ago. While I was conducting field research, I found a flock camera that was directly pointed not only at an elementary school, but also the front yard of a family's home. In that yard, there were children playing. Children were playing in that yard, and a flock camera was watching them. I know exactly what excuse you're going to come up with. Flock decides where these cameras go up. Well, this is on you, for deferring power to a mass surveillance corporation who, with your authority, are now watching children. Jason Gibbs, you knew the potential consequences of the system, and you still voted for it. You asked the right questions, but you're too scared to follow through with any action. Move to terminate this contract now. And to Loring West, I promise you that you will not win re-election until the system is gone. We will canvass every house in District 4 if that's what it takes. Bill Miranda and Marcia McLean, this council is not your personal retirement home. Do your jobs and properly audit the system. Patsy, you're okay. I will soon publish a list of concerns I have thus found through my CPRA requests, including a list of laws the city may be breaking because of their lack of care. I'm also imploring this council to pressure the Public Records Office and the Sheriff's Department to finish responding to my CPRAs in a complete and timely manner. It should not take 2 months to find these documents, especially because they are required by SB 34 to have it. And I'll take every possible measure, including legal action, to get it. On behalf of thousands of Santa Clarita residents who have expressed opposition to the system on social media, and on behalf of DFLOC SEV, we are formally listing our demands. Number 1, shut down the Flock system and terminate the contract, now. Number 2, ban city-funded ALPR surveillance from coming back under another name, like Axon. And number 3, publicly disclose the full history of the system's use. If these demands are not met, we will continue showing up until they are.
Our next speaker will be Richard Passmore, followed by Andrea Polak.
Good evening, honorable members of the council and esteemed comrades. My name is Richard Passmore. I'm a resident of Valencia and co-chair of the Santa Clarita Valley section of the Democratic Socialists of America, Los Angeles chapter. I'd like to express my deepest condolences to all the workers and small businesses impacted by the tragic fire yesterday morning in Newhall. DSA stands in solidarity with our neighbors and fellow workers and will offer our support in the months ahead. I rise to address the council this evening on a matter that is important for many of your constituents. Flock safety and ALPR cameras infringe on our rights, have insecure data protections, and allow abuse and are ineffective waste of taxpayer dollars that open the city up to liability and lawsuits. First and foremost, Flock is an invasive and unconstitutional system. For example, 1.5 million license plates are scanned every 30 days just in Burbank alone, and only 0.04% generate follow-up. That's 99.6% of drivers who are regular citizens who have their data collected and fed into Flock AI system under license that can never be revoked, violating the Fourth Amendment for prohibiting illegal search and seizure. These cameras are used to track people seeking reproductive health care, including abortions, to track people seeking gender-affirming care, and surveil and track people engaging in constitutionally protected activity, especially those related to the First Amendment. Protesters, journalists, members of the community defense organizations, international students, and people who have something on social media that the government does not like all have become recent targets. Second, it is widely published that Flock is using this information to stalk. Flock has been using this data and sharing it with ICE, CPB, DHS, not by direct contract, but through password sharing and lookup of local law enforcement and other government agencies, all in the direct violation of California state law. Third, Flock and all other ALPRs are expensive and ineffective. Flock contracts amount to hundreds of thousands of dollars every year, not even accounting for the millions they get in federal grants, also our tax dollars. We should not be paying for the government to spy on us. Additionally, there is no credible evidence that these cameras actually help solve crime, besides dubious studies that Flock conducted and paid themselves, and plenty of evidence to suggest that the cameras open up the police departments and city for massive liability claims. Given this information, I would urge the council to ban Flock and any existing contracts and strict data sharing for all ALPRs in the city of Santa Clarita, and I stand in solidarity with DFLOC SCV, and we will help to canvass and support candidates for election who are on the side of defunding Flock in the upcoming elections in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Andrea Pollack.
Good evening, Mayor West and council members. My name is Andrea Pollack. My husband and I have lived in Valencia since 1998, raising our son Brandon, a 2018 Valencia High graduate. I'm a proud One Legacy ambassador and a double lung transplant recipient, celebrating 3 years of a miraculous new life. I was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis just 6 days after birth. My parents refused to let that diagnosis define me. My daddy always told me, "Pumpkin, I'm going to make you a fighter." And he did. I lived a vibrant life until 2018, when my lungs began to fail. My lung function plummeted to 24%, tethering me to oxygen 24/7. Simply walking across a room felt like wading through deep sand. My doctor gave me a stark reality. Without a double lung transplant, I wouldn't live to see Brandon graduate college. On April 16, 2023, I received the ultimate gift, a second chance at life. I stand before you today because my hero, Tina Marie Jara, made the selfless choice to register as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Because of Tina, I did watch my son graduate. As he walked past my wheelchair, our eyes actually met on a day I was never even supposed to be alive to see. Because of Tina's legacy, I am fully living again. I play pickleball at Bouquet Canyon Park. Okay, I really stink, but I love it. I even got to the top of the Sydney Harbor Bridge. Because of Tina's legacy, I live. And because of her, I am so glad to be here. I'm always whispering, "Thank you, Tina." Recently, Brandon told me, "Mom, your donor is my hero." I replied, "She's mine too, because she gave me more time to be your mom." My purpose tonight is to be a visible advocate here in Santa Clarita for One Legacy. We educate communities about the life-changing impact of organ, eye, and tissue donation not just for recipients like me, but for families and communities left behind. One person's choice gave me more time, more adventures, and more life. Thank you for letting me share my story. I've left informational materials about One Legacy for anyone wishing to learn more. If you are not already registered, please consider it. You have the power to become a hero to somebody, just like Tina is to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. All right, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. In regards to the Valencia Summit traffic issues, we have received a multitude of requests from the residents to look at a variety of traffic concerns. The traffic staff is currently investigating those. I will meet with them tomorrow and ensure that Mr. Bree receives a follow-up with a timeline of when he can expect an answer to those questions. In regards to the flock comments, I'll reserve my comments until the second half of public comments.
All right, thank you. That concludes that portion of public speakers. City Clerk, do we have any remote participations, public speaking?
They will be in the second half of public participation.
Okay. All right, we've concluded staff comments. Let's go ahead and go with
Mayor?
Councilmember.
I just would like to make one comment, please.
Certainly.
Okay. For all of the people out there who have spoken about uncontrolled development and development that does not really serve the residents, I would like to ask that you do some research, go to maybe ChatGPT and see who in Sacramento, I know, excuse me, go to whatever search engine you would like and see who is writing the legislation in Sacramento that takes complete control away from local governments, including our city. I couldn't agree with you more. Irresponsible development is not good. Lack of parking, lack of infrastructure is not good. But laws are being passed in Sacramento every single day that make it possible for developers to come in, thumb their noses at the rules and regulations that we have always had, and go ahead with their projects. So once again, whatever search engine you would like to use, do your research and find out who in Sacramento is writing those laws, and then don't vote for them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Marcia. We'll now go to committee reports and council comments. Is that right? Okay. Council comments. All right, Bill, you want to start?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Patsy Ayala, Mayor Pro Tem, for changing your invocation based on what happened yesterday morning. I think that was just a devastating tragedy. You heard Mayor Pro Tem's words. You saw video of what happened yesterday morning. I can tell you, as if you don't already know, how devastated this community is. This community chose the Arts and Entertainment District to be on Main Street for a reason. We have our wonderful Canyon Theater Guild on Main Street. We are lucky, we are blessed that nothing happened to that facility. And I would like to introduce you to the leaders of the Canyon Theater Guild. We have Ingrid Boydston and Tim Ben Boydston. Please acknowledge yourselves, please. Thank you. Now you can applaud. For the great job that they've done. And now we have to deal with the devastation. Now we have to deal with the tragedy. Now we have to deal with that in Santa Clarita, in Newhall of all places, which is one of the biggest movie producers in the world. which has been in more movies outside of Beverly Hills and Hollywood and the sound stages of Hollywood, been in more movies probably than any other place in the world. Melody Ranch is in Newhall. Melody Ranch, over 1,000 Westerns produced in Melody Ranch. All of Gene Autry's movies. I know most of the people here won't know who Gene Autry is, but that's okay. William S. Hart was the highest paid actor, silent era, highest paid actor in the world, here from Santa Clarita. We have arts and entertainment in our DNA, and now we have a devastation, and we have to do something about it. Before I talk about what we have to do about it, let me just refresh your memory. The businesses that were impacted most yesterday were El Trocadero, the Main Theater, Care Tucker Designers, Newhall Refinery, and the Gary Auto Collision and Source Inc. facilities. When I say they were devastated, when I say they were impacted, they don't exist anymore. They're gone. And so we are Santa Clarita. As I said during one of the interviews yesterday, we are Santa Clarita. We're not going to take 5 years to rebuild that street. We're not going to take 5 years. We're going to do everything we can, everything possible, everything within the law to fix Santa Clarita, to fix Main Street, to fix the arts and entertainment area here in Santa Clarita, to help you young people who, by the way, I enjoyed all your presentations. They were wonderful. Whether we agree with you or not, I just got to tell you, from an art standpoint, as we say in Spanish, in Puerto Rican Spanish, chévere. That was outstanding. Thank you very much. Now, what are we going to do? What are we going to do to help our friends in need? What are we going to do to help all these companies? And what are we going to do to help Main Streets? So one of the things that we can do is, as we look at the Main Theater, because the Main Theater of the businesses that were impacted, the Main Theater was one that had regular, almost daily events. Okay, so what are we going to do to help them? Well, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to provide all the performers another place, another stage, and maybe several stages in which they can perform. All right? We're going to work on that. The Centennial Corporation that runs the Valencia Town Center Mall has spoken to me and said, Bill, do whatever you have to do. The Centennial Valencia Town Center Mall will back whatever you think is a good idea. We will create space for you. We will create stages for you if need be. And so for all performers, including you young ones that are here today, if you want a stage to perform, let us know. Let us know. Okay. Reach out to the city. You can reach out to me. I'm on the internet. You'll find my phone number, my email address easily. And we will provide stages for you. Okay. We will provide outlets for you. So that we can do there. We have a number of donors to a foundation. It's called the Santa Clarita Arts and Cultural Center. We have a number of donors, including Congressman George Whitesides, including Steve Kim from the Sand Canyon Country Club and Golf Course, and including some others that I'm not going to name right now. But we have a number of donors that have called me and said, Bill, if you need more donations to get more stages, to get more people to perform, we're there for you. So To everybody here and to everybody out there, if you're a performer, contact us. We will provide a stage for you. Okay. We will work with the arts community. All right. We will work with Tim Bend and Ingrid. We will work with many of the people that provide arts and entertainment throughout our community. So please contact us. We do not want you to not perform because you don't have a place to perform. We'll help you with that. The other thing, specifically, there's an artist, her name is Jane Mick. She's an incredible artist here in Santa Clarita. She does a lot of watercolor in particular. She lost over $20,000 worth of paintings that she was displaying at the mall, at the Main. Over $20,000 worth of paintings. So one of the things we want to do, by the way, the other half of her really beautiful paintings are on display at Mosaic in the patios at Valencia Town Center Mall. And the Mosaic is run by my foundation. So one of the things I want to do is I want to hold an exhibit for her, a special exhibit day where, and we haven't scheduled it yet, but we will, where she can recover some of the loss, financial loss that she had. Now, she doesn't want handouts. She doesn't want to GoFundMe. She just wants you to come see her paintings and maybe buy something. Okay? So those are just the beginning of things that we can do. We will work with all our partners, including the City of Santa Clarita, who partners, and more than partners in the arts in Santa Clarita. I mean, you're a driving force behind it. But we will all work together to make Main Street well again and to make the businesses on Main Street well again. I did a little switch. I did want to mention some arts and cultural updates. There's plenty happening in the Santa Clarita arts community. Local artists are invited to submit artwork for the city's upcoming Hispanic Heritage Month exhibition, celebrating Hispanic and Latino heritage, identity, traditions, and experiences. Submissions are due September 8th. Residents can also explore Beyond the Desk, an exhibition here at City Hall showcasing the creativity and artistic talents of Santa Clarita employees. Looking ahead, artists are invited to take their creativity to the next level at the upcoming Business for Artists Conference, featuring resources and professional development opportunities designed to help artists build and grow their creative careers. Learn more about these opportunities and other arts programming at santaclaritaarts.com. One more thing, I posted something on social media earlier, or late last week actually, something romantic because I love my wife. And a lot of people confuse that with it being our 30-year wedding anniversary. And forgive me, I have sinned. I didn't correct everybody because I just didn't feel like that's something I wanted to do. But we haven't been married 30 years and it wasn't our anniversary, so I apologize for that. In fact, we've been married 52 years and our anniversary is in January. So with that, Mayor, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. First, I want to report on Saturday, I attended to the Los Angeles Sanitation District. Here in Santa Clarita, we collect the residual waters and we process that water and until it has the good standards from the state of California to continue to fill more area and then it gets released to the ocean. But also in Santa Clarita, we collect daily 5 trucks of salt. That salt is coming from different chemicals, including detergents. But those 5 trucks are going to Los Angeles Sanitation District. And then there's another plant. Other cities collect also, well, sent there what needed to be processed, and there are different procedures, and then it goes released to the ocean. I was one of the directors going from other cities on Saturday to this tour where it's released to the ocean, like 2 miles from the beach. In front of San Pedro area, and to test, they took fish and samples from the bottom of the ocean to see the levels of water are okay, the fishes, the wildlife passed all the tests, and I was glad that I was there checking all the process and monitoring what happens. That was Saturday. Regarding the fire, I took the liberty. I was yesterday. I went to see the area, and it was. I was very moved. It was devastated to see what happened after the fire. I want to thank our fire department and sheriff department for your involvement, our first responders, and that makes me think we need to do more. I received many calls and social media messages, text, many people willing to help, and that makes me think we need to do a plan. So I share with my city council members a draft of what I think we should be doing with 3 basic steps. And I want to propose to move to a coordinated 3-pillar recovery plan for the businesses, employees, property owners, families impacted by the Main Street fire. First, economic assistance, and I would like for the staff to identify every federal, state, county, nonprofit, and private resources available, like grants for emergency recovery for fires, everything that could be related to that, and directly contact our congressman, senator, assemblywoman, and supervisor, and ask for assistance that can be brought to our community. I am also asking, would like to ask the city manager to identify opportunities of relief for the city if so that can legally be provided. And we should not hand affected businesses a list of links, just to, of course, guide them all the way to the process in whatever we find they can do to apply for these opportunities. Second is the rebuilding. For anyone trying to repair, rebuild, reopen, or temporarily relocate, the City Hall needs to be a partner, not another hurdle. I would like to expedite processes, a dedicated point of contact, and if necessary, to have a Main Street recovery team that can coordinate permits, inspections, planning, and other city requirements. We saw what happened with other fires in other cities. I want to be a business friend when the businesses decide again to take a permit and have a business in that area. Third, community. From all, I was also very moved from all the generous hearts that are willing to do something, and I think we need to coordinate that effort. I have already heard from dozens of people, businesses, and organizations willing to help. At the same time, those impacted, I was able to call the impacted businesses, and they have real and specific needs. We need to close that gap immediately. So, Council Member Miranda, thank you so much for your efforts and contacting the mall and the Centennial, and working for our artists and the shows that can have a place to perform. Also, the city should be the trusted central point connecting all those efforts. Our firefighters, sheriff, and first responders that step up in our community, thank you again. Now it is our turn. We cannot replace everything that was lost, but we can make sure no business, employee, or family affected by this fire has to navigate the recovery alone. Also, I want to ask the city council members and of course, have the city manager involved for an event at the Newhall Community Center with OTNA and organizations that want to be involved to have an event in benefit of the recovery for the Newhall area. And last, I want to invite everyone for El Grito, celebrating Mexico on September 10th. Thank you, Mayor.
You're very welcome. Councilman McLean, you want to go next, and then followed by Councilman Gibbs? Is that good? Okay.
over the hiatus, I attended many events over the hiatus, as we all did. The most recent being on Saturday, this past Saturday, the LEAP Museum workshops. That's LEAP organization, which started a couple of years ago with wanting to be able to have a children's museum here in Santa Clarita. They've come a really long way, and this Saturday's workshops were really great. Boston Scientific was one of their sponsors, and they had a lot of neat things there. They mentioned that they had put in for a city arts grant, and it was granted. And so our arts grants do help so many deserving nonprofits, and it's good to see that money being put to good use. And I stopped by Old Town Newhall today, and I walked up and down the block, and I just stood there and shook my head to see the devastation. Our city worked so hard for so many years to make Old Town Newhall what it was just 2 days ago. I had been working since 1980, even before we were a city, when we first moved to Newhall, and working to achieve revitalization. From joining Buck McKeon's Merchants Revitalization Committee to being a charter member of the Old Town Newhall Association. Then, when I was proudly elected to City Council in 2002, I had asked our city manager at that time, Ken Pulskamp, to put together a 10-point plan, and he did so. Step by step, we achieved the goals that made revitalization work for the businesses, new and existing, and for the hundreds and thousands of residents of Santa Clarita that have been enjoying the Old Town experience. And I would like to ask the consensus of the City Council not to work individually, but to ask Ken to come up with a 10-point plan like we had before to bring back what we have lost and to rebuild the dream that took so long to achieve. So if that is okay with the rest of the council, I would like Ken to kind of take the lead and to ask him to put together that 10-step plan that worked so well before in order to work to rebuild what we have lost.
I would agree to that, but I wouldn't limit it to the number 10.
May I just say that?
Well, there's as many steps as it would take, but it would.
Well, that's fine. As many steps as it would take.
Yeah, okay,
I'm just saying
fine.
Excuse me.
Don't limit it to the number 10.
Ken is already working with staff on doing all that, and he will come back with as many opportunities, I believe, as is possible to do, working within the law, the constraints of investigation, the constraints of insurance companies, and all the mechanisms that he's going to have to deal with. But if there's one thing I know, we have a council here that is completely supportive, and we're all saying it. Thank you, Marcia. This is obvious that you love it dearly, just like the rest of us. We will bring our community, our beautiful part of New Holland's history back. It's very complicated. It's going to take a lot of work, but he's already started today, and I've heard quite a bit of it. So I think we could give staff a couple weeks to come up with something, and then if we need to ask him to do more, we can.
Okay, so we have consensus that Ken is going to be putting together a plan, correct?
He's already doing that.
Okay, cool. I wanted to adjourn tonight's council meeting in honor of Rose Koscielny. And she's been a long-time community leader and passionate advocate for children. Rose Koscielny, who passed away recently. Rose dedicated more than 2 decades of her life to serving the children and families of the Saugus Union School District. During her 21 years on the governing board, she was a steadfast advocate for students, teachers, and schools, always focused on ensuring children had the opportunities and support they needed to succeed. Rose cared deeply about education and about the community she represented. One thing I really liked about her, she was never afraid to speak up for what she believed was right. And those who had the privilege of knowing and working alongside her will also remember her wonderful and often wicked sense of humor. She brought personality, passion, and heart to public service and left an enduring impact on generations of Saugus families. Rose retired from the board in 2016, but the legacy of her service continues in the schools, programs, and countless students whose lives were touched by the decisions she helped make. Our deepest condolences go to her husband, Phil, her children, Josh, Kelly, and Leanne, their families, and all those who knew and loved Rose. Santa Clarita is a better community because Rose chose to serve it, and we are grateful for the more than 2 decades she devoted to our children. I was at her service today, and her daughter, Kelly, gave one of the most wonderful speeches about Rose and her life and her family. And she was truly a great person, and I'm honored to adjourn in her memory. I wanted to mention Community Beautification Day. You can help keep Santa Clarita clean and beautiful during Community Beautification Day on Saturday, September 12th. This year's 5th anniversary brings an exciting change to Community Beautification Day. Instead of focusing efforts on just one area of Santa Clarita, projects will take place at multiple locations across the city, making it easier than ever for residents to get involved. Volunteers ages 12 and up are invited to roll up their sleeves and give back to the community through projects including graffiti removal, mulching, and trash pickup. Sign up today at santaclaritavolunteers.com. And I just wanted to mention just one more thing. I stopped by the theater today, and thank goodness Canyon Theater Guild is still there. And I spoke with Tim Ben actually yesterday, and he mentioned that the theater is there for every single performer who wants to perform, and the theater is going to work with anyone who needs that help. So I want to thank you for that. Thank goodness the Canyon Theater Guild made it through, because it is such a jewel for Old Town Newhall. And I know that with our plans, we're going to bring back Main Street like it was. I know we have to be very careful with the rules and regulations and not let somebody come in and just want to build something. We need to make sure, and I am completely dedicated 100% while I'm on the city council to make sure that we rebuild Newhall for the shops, the eclectic shops that are there, and to rebuild the main. Thank you.
Councilman Gibbs.
Thank you very much, Mayor. First, Councilwoman McLean, I wanted to let you know that some family members for the Koscielny family reached out to me, and they were very touched for your adjournment tonight and for you being there today, and they wanted me to make sure that I mentioned that here at the meeting.
Oh.
So I wanted to share that with you.
Thank you.
And obviously, I want to thank the council and the community, and Councilmember Miranda tonight. I think you really captured the commentary of what we were all feeling from yesterday. And I know there's not one person on this council that doesn't support and love the arts. You have been a stalwart and very steadfast in your dedication for the art world since you've been here, and that goes without question. So we thank you for that. And it's a testament as we talk about community in this city. The first thing people were doing after the horrible fires was just trying to help in many different ways, from reaching out on social media. Mayor Pro Tem, as you mentioned, we were all getting messages from people who maybe aren't even connected into the downtown Newhall or into the art community. They just wanted to be there and they wanted to help. And as I sat back and I watched that for the last 24 hours, it really reminds you of what makes this place so great. And so it was great to see, and I applaud the council for its dedication to Newhall and our dedication to the arts community. And I think even tonight there's a local group of theater troupes and others who are greatly affected who are all meeting at St. Stephen's, and they're coming together to just see how they can help each other. They're not going there just to find out what can they ask for. They're just there asking, like, how can we help you? And I think that's a wonderful thing. So I want to give my congratulations and my heartfelt thank you to everyone in this community for the work that they do. Over the hiatus, I just want to congratulate Child and Family. They had their board installation. Councilmember Miranda and I were there. I believe it was their 50th anniversary that they've been operating in this town. And Liz Seipel, who was one of the founding members of there, was there with us, and I served with her on the Salvation Army board. Just a wonderful lady, and it's great to see that organization continue to thrive. Concerts in the Park is always fantastic. I had a great time attending that. And then I know we're going to hear a little bit more from the city manager on the flock, and there's probably some more public comments. I just want to make 2 comments. One, there was a gentleman who I believe is wearing a banana suit that's phenomenal. My kid is absolutely into bananas, so if you can send me a link for that thing, I'm going to go grab one for him. So while your speeches were, they were funny, they were sticky, but there's a powerful point behind it. And I want you all to know that I'm taking pause with what you have said, and I will continue to do that. But the way that you presented it, it was fun, and it was meaningful, and it was powerful. So thank you all for being here. And Mayor, that concludes my comment this evening.
Well, thank you, Councilman. City Manager Ken Striplin, is there any report that you'd like to share with the council about all the work you're doing with staff and all the things we can discuss a little bit regarding Old Town and the fire?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor and members of the City Council. As the Council has clearly stated, yesterday was a devastating and a heartbreaking situation for the community and specifically the businesses and property owners in Old Town Newhall. You know, we were out there early yesterday morning watching the devastation unfold, and then city staff went into action immediately in partnership with the Sheriff's Department and the Fire Department. The Fire Department, I do want to acknowledge them, as you have, did an amazing job of responding and containing that fire to the extent that they could. The Sheriffs did a great job of containing the area. City staff has been in rebuilding recovery mode since the fire has been put out. Just as of this morning, all the rubble has been leveled on site, contained on site. We have fenced the entire area with vinyl fence to help clean up the area and help with the aesthetic view of it. We have pressure washed the streets. We've swept the streets. We're working with the local businesses around there to help pressure wash the facades of those buildings to help alleviate some of the ancillary damage that occurred. We've been in contact with both property owners as well as the 4 business owners since yesterday, talking to them or with them about their needs and staying in close contact. Staff met today. I had the executive group met today. We talked about a couple of things. We talked about preparing and acting now on the things that have to happen to start just the securing the site, creating the safety, and then starting the rebuilding process. So we've done a number of things, as I mentioned, to do that. We've talked about how do we assist the business owners that were affected directly by the fire in terms of looking at, as Councilmember Ayala said, the different potential grants or loan programs that may be out there for businesses that are affected by these types of situations. So we are looking into those programs. We have been in contact with all of the theater groups. I appreciate Councilmember Miranda's efforts that he's put forth already. We're looking at it from 2 standpoints for the arts groups. We have a number of productions and things that were scheduled at the Main between now and the end of the year. That's our immediate focus, is trying to help them secure alternative locations. We appreciate the location that, again, Councilmember Miranda came up with, but we're also going to be reaching out to the community partners, Newhall School District, any place else that has black box theaters or spaces for theaters that we can help relocate. And I know there's a meeting tonight, or there was a meeting tonight at 6:30 with all of the arts groups coming together to really, as a community, figure out, hey, how do we recover? How do we rebuild? What do we do going forward? And I have staff there tonight working with them as well. We'll also be looking long term. As we know, the Main's not coming back anytime soon, so we're going to be looking at what is a potential long-term opportunity to replace the Main, so that the city does have that facility available for the arts groups as quickly as possible. It's not going to happen overnight, but we're certainly looking at what those options might look like. So there's been a number of things that we have done currently that we'll continue to do, and as the council just talked about, we will put a lot of this into what we consider a plan and look not only at what's happening now, what's happening in the short term, and then long term, how do we secure the redevelopment of that portion of Old Town Newhall to make sure sure that we do support those businesses, those business owners, and come back stronger than ever. The other one thing I do want to mention is on the funding side, the business community is coming together to support one another. OTNA has agreed and stepped up to provide the lead, if you will, on a business, like a donation, so a central point for people who want to donate to the businesses down there. OTNA will step up and do a funding program to help with that so they can support those businesses. I also know that there's 2 separate GoFundMe programs out there, or requests to support Care Tucker as well as the refinery. So those are available for people right now if they want to contribute and assist with those businesses. So there's a lot of things happening right now. There's a lot of things in the planning stages, and we'll continue to update the council as those things progress and become more concrete.
Thank you very much, City Manager Ken Strickland. That was very helpful. I hope that gives the council kind of a picture. He's been working diligently ever since he left the fire scene, working throughout the community to figure out all the different mechanisms. I know staff is putting their shoulder to the wheel, as are we. I want to just say a few things and take too long. I want to first say art is really important in our community. History is really important in our community. You're really important in our community. People matter. This is heartbreaking for many of us. I have always seen that old saying, as a door closes, a window opens, or the other way around, whichever you want to look at it. But with working all of us together, we will bring this back better than ever, and with your help and support, as we always do in Santa Clarita, we will make sure that people's lives are bettered and that we get where we need to go. This was a terrible tragedy, and many of us are still somewhat shocked. You look at the pictures of rubble in the middle of something that was just hours before, stunning, beautiful, and used every day by men, women, and children in this community, and it is shocking. The city staff, I want to thank you. You have a beautiful art exhibit. If you want to feel good about art and what our staff thinks of art in this community and how they express themselves, come to City Hall and look through the halls, and you will see some amazing things that our people who work here in jobs serving you did in their spare time with art. It makes you know that what you see people do in their job isn't the inside of their heart and soul of what they feel. And I was very awe-inspired by you. So thank you, staff, for doing that. I want to thank the fire department. You know, the fire department did an amazing job. They always do an amazing job. They have saved us forever in this valley from every kind of disaster. So we thank them. We are so grateful they were not harmed. As has been said before, I'm very grateful that Canyon Theater Guild is alive and well and standing and will be entertaining and giving us great joy for all the years to come. Goes to show brick buildings are pretty good. But thank you. I wanted to say there, the little shop, Care Tucker, the family, husband and wife, their 2 children, it's a complete loss for them. And I wanted to just say I have shopped with them, and she has wonderful things. So I wanted to say that if you wanted to just purchase something from that shop, you can go to their website, Care Tucker, CareTucker.com, and you can still do business with that family through that website. Everything I know about Santa Clarita is that we put our heart and soul into things, and when somebody is harmed, we work to help, and that's what the council does, that's what our staff's doing, and we're going to get where we need to go. I'm looking forward, Ken, to us beautifying around the area that was totally destroyed. And I know you've already fenced it off, so I propose, and I think we already had some discussion about this, having all the artists come together and paint murals all the way around depicting our history, our old town, our agrarian life, our scenery of our beautiful gorgeous mountains and hills, and making a beautiful area to look at while this regeneration comes forth. And at least in the meantime, we will not be looking at just a fence. So hopefully we can do that, and we can support the artists in doing that. I think that would bring all of us some healing in being able to know that we're helping to make it beautiful and bring it back. That's my thought for that. And I want to thank all the staff and the city manager's office for immediately going to work on this, immediately. So thank you. We had a very long day today. So I'm going to stop talking because it'll make it just longer. We will now, that completes my report, and I think that we will now just move on to our public hearing. Are we ready? Ready to do that? All right. Let our planners get in their seat. This is item 1. This is a very important item. This is a public hearing on mixed use and residential objective design standards, a mouthful, but it's very important, as our planners will now share with you. And so let me just ask you to move on. And Dave, are you presenting? Or? Is this a public, do I have a public hearing announcement? Yeah, I do. This is the time and place for the public hearing for Master Case 26-038 to consider adopting multifamily and mixed-use objective design standards and amendments to the municipal code to address the state housing legislation. The hearing is officially open and will receive comments, questions, and any oral protests from any interested persons. When all comments have been received, the hearing will be closed. City Clerk will report on the hearing.
All notices required by law have been provided.
City staff will now make a presentation, after which the public will have the opportunity to comment. And with that, I would like to turn the time over to Zarui Chaperyan. I didn't say it quite quick enough, but better than I might have.
Good evening, Mayor West and members of the City Council. My name is Zarui Chaperyan, and I'm an associate planner with the Planning Division. Tonight, I'm presenting Master Case 26-38, which proposes multifamily and mixed-use housing objective design standards and related municipal code amendments. Over the last year, city staff collaborated with SCAG to develop objective design standards. While the 2009 Community Character and Design Guidelines have given us the tools that development projects need to achieve the high expectations of the City Council and the community, recent state legislation requires us to remove our subjectivity from design review. The standards we're proposing tonight will comply with state law, but allow us to retain some control over design. On screen are the meetings staff has held to date. And on July 7th, the Planning Commission voted 5-0 to recommend approval of the proposed design standards and code updates. Under state housing law, unless we adopt design standards, which have to be specific and measurable, the city cannot enforce design guidelines on multifamily and mixed-use housing projects. The proposed standards and code updates respond to the state housing laws on screen and will replace the city's discretion with measurable, quantifiable standards to support the development of multifamily and mixed-use housing projects. These standards and updates to the city's review process for multifamily and mixed-use housing will also help the city meet its housing element objectives. We wanted to develop a practical and implementable document, one that protects community characteristics, locks in design standards that the city finds important, and that developers who work in the community are used to. To do so, we're proposing to take the adopted design guidelines and objectify portions of it. The goals for this project are listed on screen and include an opt-out provision I will discuss later. Staff proposes converting a quarter of the existing design guidelines to objective design standards. These were identified as key components to the architectural review process. As I mentioned previously, the proposed standards will only apply to multifamily and mixed-use housing projects. The remaining guidelines will remain as recommendations that we may encourage but cannot mandate. The proposed design standards fall into 3 categories: to create objectivity, to provide clear, measurable objectives, and to provide a menu of options for applicants to choose from. I'll share a few examples with you, and in this first example, the objective of the standard is to break up building massing. To do so, the proposed incorporates enforceable text to create an objective standard that must be achieved and can be verified via the parameters set forth for each of the stories. It's important to note that the graphic on screen is only an example, and a project does not need to look exactly like this. So in this case, the guideline changes to a standard with the incorporation of specifics. An important objective of this exercise was to include and respect the characteristics of each of the 4 communities in Santa Clarita. The different community styles will identify how to achieve the proposed design standards. In reference to the example on screen, should this project be in Valencia, the building must be broken up by the materials shown on screen to reflect the Valencia style. The same would be true for the materials and styles appropriate for Saugus, Canyon Country, and Newhall. The multifamily and mixed-use design standards will codify the appearance of each community, ensuring the styles and overall quality that the city has become accustomed to will remain. In this second example on screen, staff proposes a menu of options to choose from and measurable ways to achieve this standard, which is to create an active street corner through design. These and other examples are found throughout the document and incorporated in site planning, building design, utilities, and mixed-use developments. And not only are the standards represented via text changes, but they are also represented via graphic exhibits. To achieve all this, staff is recommending updates for our review process. If an applicant complies with all of the proposed objective standards, then their architecture is by review complete. Land uses, height, and hillsides and/or ridgeline alteration reviews will keep their discretionary land use reviews. The proposed municipal code amendments are provided on screen and attached to the ordinance in the agenda packet. With the opt-out provision, if an applicant cannot or will not meet the proposed standards, then architectural review reverts back to our current design guidelines and our current review process. Staff will be able to apply design guidelines to work with applicants on the project's design and be able to retain our community characteristics. Separately, if the project qualifies for state density bonus concessions and waivers, applicants can remove their obligations for meeting these design standards. All noticing required by law has been completed, and the project is exempt from CEQA. With that, staff recommends the City Council pass a resolution approving the objective design standards and passing to second reading an ordinance amending the municipal code. Thank you, and we are available for questions.
Council, any questions for staff? Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. First, I want to reiterate that state law has significantly limited the discretion cities once had over qualifying housing project. Our responsibility is to preserve every reasonable and lawful tool available to protect the character of Santa Clarita. So one of the questions that I have is, of the 99 guidelines that will remain subjective, which protections were considered most important but could not legally be converted into objective standards?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Dave Peterson, Senior Planner with the city's Planning Division. I think instead of having legal standards looked at when we considered what we were going to make objective and what we were going to keep subjective, really the standard we looked at was more what were the guidelines that encapsulated sort of what we thought was a Santa Clarita design. And so I don't know that there are any of the guidelines that we didn't make objective for legal reasons necessarily. We were really more interested in design scope as opposed to a legal reasoning.
Thank you. Of course, all that you were having in the presentation, thank you. They create clear and enforceable expectations. So what opportunities will residents have to comment when a project qualifies for streamlined review, or it's just for the developer? Of course, these.
So the new development process would not allow residents to make comments. They would be able to make comments if a developer does not meet these objective design standards and goes into an opt-out provision to do what we currently do and review this discretionary.
Well, this is one comment more than a question. Of course, well, I remain concerned about the state continuing to reduce local authority. Failing to adopt objective standards would leave the city with fewer protections. And another question that I have is, will staff provide the council with a report after first several projects are processed under these standards?
At the will of the commission, the city council, we can come back and provide reports as the council would like.
Okay, and the process will be the same? Will the city verify compliance during the plan check, construction, final inspection? It's just going to change the what you are requiring at the beginning of the project?
That is correct. Okay. Building and safety, fire safety, all of that will be checked during plan check.
All right, thank you. That's all the questions that I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Go ahead, Councilman Gibbs. I can see you are in the starting gate, ready to go.
Thank you, Mayor. Ready to go. Just one question. There was a slide you had up there called breaking. It was talking about massing. And I just wanted to clarify. Are you talking about architectural features that will try to minimize the look of the projects or the densification of projects? Is that what that term means? Breaking up massing?
What we are trying to do in this standard is to stop the development of just square boxes, and what this will do is allow elements from the community design guidelines to be incorporated into building design so that we can achieve both a break in the building design and the different community styles.
So massing.
Let me add to that. The answer is yes.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Good, Ken. I like that.
I mean, I like the words too, but thank you. Thank you for the clarification. So that is the purpose. It's continuing to maintain architectural features and not simply make square boxes and these high densifications. So breaking up the massing. Okay, thank you. And I don't believe it's necessarily for the guidelines when we're talking about multifamily homes. But one of the things that keeps coming up when we talk about state laws, I want to just comment publicly regarding health and safety issues. I am interested at some point, and this may not be the point for it, our ability to codify objective standards in relation to impacts that projects will have by means of lack of infrastructure or reduction in parking or any number of things that will affect public safety and health. And I want to know if this isn't the place for it, that's okay. But I do want that out there so that when we have an opportunity, I would like staff to find ways to codify in objective manners that issue, because that is the one piece that still exists out there. It's just kind of in a nebula that will allow the council to provide protections for communities. So I don't believe that's for here, but I want to make sure that I had it out there. That concludes my comments, Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mayor Marsha.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate what you just said. I'm absolutely in favor of having that issue addressed. The other thing is, I think this helps to make it better, because I know that recently when projects have been proposed, They have just taken architectural designs that they've used everywhere else and presented them to us for their buildings. And then when we asked for just minor changes to make them look better, they would say, no, thank you. So this prevents that from happening, right? I know you said yes. I just wanted to put it out there for the public so that they know that, what we're doing. Yes. Great. Thank you.
I want you to explain one more time, opt-out. So I appreciate that. Either one of you, Dave, or...
So the opt-out clause that's proposed tonight, what it really does is if there's a situation where a developer either cannot or does not want to comply with all of the objective design standards for architecture and site design, they can opt out of it. What that means is that we would just revert back to the way we do architectural design review currently. Everything would become a guideline. They kind of step away from what the state has identified as this streamlining of architectural review, and we would give us more flexibility back as a city to talk about individual aspects of their project. That's what opt-out is.
All right, so basically, it's to their advantage to not opt out.
If they do not opt out, then if they satisfy all of the ODS, then our review of their architecture is done.
Okay.
So that is the perceived incentive from the state on this.
Well, what this is not is land use or density. What this is building articulations, it's color palettes, and it's architectural definition.
That's correct.
All right, so we have, those are three key points that make the difference between a box and a really lovely, pleasing building to look at.
Correct.
All right, so, and we've picked color palettes that are not too nitpicky, but they're nice so that we can get through the state standards.
Correct.
All right, so I'll just, as it's been hinted to by other council members, we are very much under the thumb and guidelines of what the state will allow us to do. So our staff is working hard to create guidelines that can allow us to keep building a very attractive community and stay within the law that the state is now mandating. Is that correct? That sum it up, Dave?
That is 100% correct.
All right, so that's all I have to say. You talked about codifying for public safety. We'll have to talk about it at a later time. But I think it's a good subject to have. All right, thank you. I thank you both. You did a great job. I looked at all the pretty pictures, and I said, gee, I like that. Do we have any more council comments or questions? No. Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion.
Am I done with public stuff here? Do I have to close?
Mayor, there were no more requests to speak.
Okay, so do we have, do I have to close the public hearing?
Yes, please.
Oh, darn. Well, got to do that. We'll now close the public hearing on this portion of this hearing anyway. And there's no more questions, discussion by the council. And in that case, I will entertain a motion for the staff recommendation or anything else you want to make a motion to.
Motion.
Second motion. I have a second. All right, roll call.
Councilmember Gibbs?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala?
Aye.
Councilmember Miranda?
Yes.
Councilwoman McLean?
Yes.
And Mayor West?
Aye, thank you very much. And we're going to now move to consent calendar. Is there any questions on consent?
I have question on number 8.
Okay.
Mayor? I'm sorry, we do have a remote speaker on consent.
Well, good. Let's hear who that is.
All right, Donna, it is your turn to speak to the council. You have 3 minutes.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. My name is Donna, and I'm a parent at Highlands Elementary School, and I'd like to speak on consent calendar item number 6 regarding the rezoning of our parking on the street of Catala. And I just want to say that, just for anyone who's unaware, after a really unfortunate accident outside the school at the end of last school year, at least one parent, and I'm sure others, reached out to the city to request a traffic study to improve safety and efficiency in our complicated drop-off area. The school did inform us of a meeting with the city at the time, but we heard no further updates until we returned to school to find temporary no parking signs. The school did assure this was the city making progress, but it seemed very much in process. And though I can't speak for the school or the district, they seemed unable to explain any further. I was surprised when late this afternoon, through a lucky roundabout way, that there's a resolution on the consent calendar ready to pass tonight to move forward with the new parking zones, including a large no parking area and an unloading and unloading zone to be amended. After reviewing the resolution and reflecting on the dearth of communication with the families about the investigation and the development of this plan, I can't speak to the specifics of the resolution except to say that I have many questions, like implementing extended no parking zones in the afternoon pickup from 12 to 3, when at 12:25, at least 130 families will be picking up their TK and K students, where they have to park and walk to the gate to meet them with their teacher. And in the afternoon, when first through at least third grade families have to walk to the gate to meet their children at the teachers. So these are questions I simply can't reason my way through by reading the resolution. And I apologize if I've missed previous meetings on this, but I believe that this information should be made more transparent and clear to the families. So tonight I can only ask the council to omit this item from the consent calendar, provide full transparency on the study, the subsequent planning and development of the resolution to the families and community, and potentially allow for public comment before the council takes this resolution or an amended resolution to a vote. I believe I speak for many families when I say I raise these concerns not to throw a wrench in the works, but because we do deeply believe in the safety and efficiency for all of our community members and believe this issue requires sufficient attention and clarity of plan and purpose. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Donna. City Manager.
We've worked very closely with the schools, but I'd ask Joel Barang to come up and talk about the process that we've gone through to date and how we got to the recommendation.
Thank you very much. It's a lovely school up there. Can you speak louder, please?
Good evening, Mayor West, members of the City Council. We did meet with the school and the district on June 21st. We did decide to install loading and unloading zone based off of what the request was from the school and what we had determined was the best feasible way to address the situation out there before any other considerations are looked at and investigated. And the school hours were vetted through the school.
The school was supportive of this?
Yes.
The school itself is supportive of this recommendation?
Correct. And the district.
And the district?
Yeah, we shared this information with the district and the school.
Is this a safety issue?
It's just to address dropping off on the side of the school and enhance safety. There were information that was sent to the parents from the school, educational tools to, reinforce safety by crossing at the crosswalks and dropping off on the east side of adjacent to the school.
And so the school board has seen this?
Correct.
Mayor?
Yes.
Can I just ask, so was there any meeting where the parents were present?
Not the HOA, the school district did reach out to the school to provide information to the parents of these solutions. And these are interim solutions. We are considering other improvements. And this is just a start of what we can do today.
But the parents weren't directly invited to attend a meeting?
No.
Or something informative in paper was sent to them, or how the parents knew about it?
Oh,
how did they inform the school district to the parents?
The school decided to have the meeting on site and the school district and not have the parents in that meeting until we met with the school.
So the parents were never involved to be able to give their comments?
We were providing responses to the parents on what was going to be
But there was not a meeting where the parents were invited to come to the school and given the information and then invited to comment?
That is correct.
That's what I'm hearing. Okay, well, that's a problem for me. So,
And for me too. For, if the speaker is correct, and I don't doubt that she would be, if 125 students are coming out at 12:30, we wouldn't be here talking about this, right? We wouldn't have this restriction take place when 125 students, mostly young students, of course, are getting out of school.
I do want to add that there was a city council resolution adopted in the early 2000s of this similar loading and unloading zone. Today's resolution modifies that zone to what the current school hours are.
Okay.
Mayor, I'm sorry, Councilman.
Go ahead, City
If
Manager.
the council is concerned about our level of communication, we're happy to pull the item, go meet with the school, and work with the school to inform the parents and come back at a later date.
I think that would be appropriate.
Yes.
That would be the appropriate thing to do right now.
I agree, and thank you to the caller for calling in on this and giving such a good explanation.
Thank you very much for coming up, and we will work through it and connect with everyone. So thank you. So we'll just pull item 6. Is that it? Yeah, pull item 6. Any other questions or comments?
For number 8, for the New Hall Park.
Okay, go ahead.
Since we have the fire yesterday, we don't have the main. I would like for all of us to consider for the new draft of the New Hall Park a stage somewhere in the new design for arts.
I think we put art in all our parks.
Yeah, in that one, I can also the draft, but it could be like a simple stage just for our groups to rehearse or have little performances in New Hall Park. If it could be considered. I mean, I like the draft that we were reviewing, of course, but if we can review it again and see if there is a space for something like that, I would appreciate to take the look.
Can we pass this item, and you can go ahead and work with Councilwoman Ayala on that?
Yes, so the answer is we can do that. I mean, the design that we've put together is a design that we've gone out to the community and got blessed with the community. We can see if there's a place to squeeze it in, but I would recommend against redesigning it to try to fit it in where we already have designed the park. If that's the case, then we have to go back and redesign, which would not.
Well, that costs quite a bit.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. I'm not interested in redesigning, but I'm interested in possibilities for pop-up opportunities if that would work well at the park.
That's a good idea.
Following, but I agree, I wouldn't like to change the design.
And for future projects, if we can, of course, we're continuously doing renovations or new projects from now on, and consider stages for future projects, if possible.
City Manager, was that clear? Clear like mud. All right, well, thank you very much, both of you.
Thank you.
For that input. And does that conclude our questions on the consent? Yes. All right, is there a motion to accept consent?
So moved.
We need to pull out the number 6
Pulling out
first?
number 6.
Oh, yes, we are
So I move a motion to pull out the number 6 for future review.
correct.
Second.
So I have a motion, pulling number 6, and a second for that. And we will need a roll call vote.
Mayor Pro Tem Ayala?
Aye.
Councilmember Gibbs?
Aye.
Councilwoman McLean?
Yes.
Councilmember Miranda?
Yes.
Mayor West?
Aye. And now we have our second public participation. Take those. Thank you. And we will start with Braden Pinvidic, followed by David Emenson and Stanley Call. Speakers, when I call your name, would you please come up to the front and get ready to speak? And so I'll repeat the names. Braden Pinvidic, David Emenson, and Stanley Call. Would you all three come up to the front? And we'll start with Braden.
First, I'd like to thank DFLOC SCV for informing me of this speaking opportunity. Monroe County, Florida, Johnson County, Texas, Jackson County, Georgia. These are 3 of 46 known counties where FLOC has been used to stalk, harass, and terrorize innocent people. But I'm not going to waste my time with privacy concerns, because this council has already decided to strip us of that right. Nearly 2 years ago, November 12th, 2024, this council awarded FLOC a contract of over $500,000, despite the voices of the citizens. I watched that meeting. Tony Maldonado said that data can be misused against ourselves and our families and our friends. A woman named Glenda said, "What else are you guys going to come up with? First it was the batteries that can kill us, then it's the cameras that'll watch us die." Dee Zimmerman said, simply, "Nobody's privacy matters anymore." Their concerns were never addressed. Their voices were not heard. Nobody wanted those cameras. Nobody wants those cameras. Our representatives are not representing us. And please, don't believe us so disillusioned that we would think this is for our own good. The longer that these cameras are up, the longer we doubt this council is working in our best interest. How long do we have until you decide to build a data center without our knowledge and without our consent, like they did in Gilroy, California? And how long do they have until it poisons our water like they did in Cheyenne, Wyoming? But one thing is clear. Times are changing. Cities are canceling their contracts. In other cities, cameras are being destroyed. These cameras will go down one way or another. So if you would like to, in the words of Councilman Miranda, do the good work of the great citizens of Santa Clarita, then you will cancel the contract and take down those cameras.
David Amundsen. Is David Amundsen here? Is Stanley Call here? Come on up, Stanley. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor West and council members. Why Santa Clarita should cancel its FLOC camera contract? Santa Clarita should cancel its contract with FLOC Safety because mass automated surveillance threatens our constitutional rights, wastes public trust, and opens the door to severe abuse. At first glance, these cameras seem great. They're like something cool out of a high-tech crime-fighting show, you know? It's, if they were operating in an ideal world, maybe it might be different, but a closer look shows, as you've heard tonight, that the risks far outweigh the rewards. The issue goes far beyond typical partisan lines as well. It touches on conservative values of limited government, fiscal responsibility, and individual liberty. ALPRs, automatic license plate readers like FLOC, seem like an easy fix for crime. They scan plates, ping police when a stolen car or wanted suspect drives by, ideally, right? Proponents argue these systems act as a digital shield for neighborhoods. So on the surface, again, understandable why people might think that'd be a cool thing to do. But frequent errors, as you've heard about, FLOC cameras and similar systems struggle with accuracy. There have been numerous records of people being stopped. They were the wrong person. There was a family of little girls placed on face down in the parking lot who were driving in a minivan that had the same license plate number as a motorcycle from a completely different state. So thus, again, the issue of confusion by this data being shared across jurisdictions. It's a fiscal waste. It involves harassment of innocent citizens, all these false positives that we've heard about, you know, in addition to all of the privacy concerns people have raised. So the danger is this real world abuse that we've heard of. You know, I remember maybe 20 years ago, when Edward Snowden was a big deal, talking about NSA conducting basically collecting databases of citizens' conversations, and that was a big deal. That was crazy back then, and we've just gone so far beyond that these days. We're looking to turn into an invasive Big Brother state. But not only that, but it's under a private for-profit corporation that, as people have mentioned, no standards. And it's an absolute mess. So again, warrantless, indiscriminate mass data collection erodes the protections of the Fourth Amendment against unreasonable searches. And I urge the council to cancel the contract, but if not, at least let it expire in November. Thank you.
Thank you. Alina Tatoyan. Alina will be followed by Simone Ellis.
If I stood in front of you here today and read to you aloud where your children had been like this: 7:32 p.m., left home with mother. 7:45 p.m., dropped off at school by mother. 3 p.m., picked up at school by friends. 3:11 p.m., parked at mall with friends. 5:13 p.m., dropped off home by friends. 5:59 p.m., left home with father. 6:17 p.m., dropped off Central Park by father. 8:42 p.m., picked up by Central Park by father. 9 p.m., returned home with father. If this were not a hypothetical scenario, and I was an actual stalker who told you the exact schedule of where your child had been today, the security guard would have already come up here and arrested me. But though that's not a real scenario, you're letting that currently happen to the children and women and others of Santa Clarita right now. In reality, I'm not the one who is watching your children. Flock security is. Good evening, council members. My name is Alina Tatoyan, and I live here in Santa Clarita, where there are 35 flock cameras installed around this city alone, set up in the defense that they are mere traffic cameras meant to keep us safe. But why many of us are here today is because these unregulated cameras do more than simply collect license plate numbers. They track everywhere your cars go and are uploaded into a nationwide database that any law enforcement agency in the entire country with a flock contract can search and breach our privacy with. There is a major oversight and lack of transparency when it comes to how much data that this third-party company can collect, store, and use about any of us standing in this room. And these cameras don't just scan license plate numbers, as we've talked about. They record the color and model of your car, the scratches, dents, and stickers that may cover it. But it tracks the exact same thing on humans, our skin color, clothing, tattoos, and other physical descriptors as well. Sergio Rodriguez, Tatiana Davis, Jade Jackson, Nicholas Richard, Brittany Smith, Isaac Whitus, Donald Phillips, Matthew Rich, Marquis Dillard, Michael Steffman. These 10 names that I read are only a few out of the many police officers who have been identified and arrested across the U.S. for using their access to flock technology to stalk people, particularly women, outside of law enforcement-related purposes. This abuse of power, where the officers are able to access so much information for their personal predatory purposes, is horrific. This issue does not only lie in the fact that these AI cameras by a random surveillance company can watch our every move and store that data, but that it is so easily accessible. This is not an attack whatsoever on our own law enforcement or police force, but when we see this issue come up in not just 1 or 2 states, but dozens of them, it raises major concerns among us. So be like the counties in Oxnard, Santa Clara, Santa Cruz, Lakewood, and many more who have terminated these contracts as council members who are here to protect us and serve us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Simone Ellis? Okay, thank you very much. Gabby? Gabby will be followed by Amelia Christian. Chris Ham.
I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees, and my thing won't stick on me. But today I speak for a different man's needs, for Santa Clarita, a valley with a stake in this country's future as a surveillance state. Once upon a time, I fought with needs, but now it's something useless of a similar decree. Today I must warn of something that stalks. That's right, today I'm talking about flock. I'm in charge of the brown Barbaloots who play in the shade of their Barbaloot suits. They're in the shade. They're once safe and free. Help me, Mr. Lorax. They're spying on me. That's what they say. Their shade's safe no more. No one feels free when cameras record. They know what it's like to have a company control your habitat, your privacy, how it dampens the soul. I would like to take a moment to quote an old foe, the one you've known, the Onceler, and bear caution to his prose. Business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. A business cares a lot, not for our safety and health. All it wants is to amass more wealth. How can you trust a corporate with your face, your car, your data, and your license plate? Most certainly, I know I cannot, especially when I know that they lie a lot. Flock's deception is truly a feat. A onceler, a twiceler, thrice the deceit. They've lied about info and who they give access. The feds, ICE, it's all a mess. They lied about friendship in the ACLU. I'll speak for them too. They'll say, "Don't act like I know you." They've lied about potential and what it could bring, but officers have used them to stalk their ex things. All of these lies, they bring me much grief, so I must rest and conclude my speech. But before I depart, I leave you with one final word. The conclusion to my book, a lecture I reserve only for when things get truly absurd. Unless someone like you cares an awful lot, nothing's gonna get better. It's not.
Thank you. Maya Grisham. Maya will be followed by Daniel Negretta.
Hi, my name is Maya. I live in Valencia, and I am a member of the Santa Clarita DSA. I am here in opposition to the continued funding of flock and automated license plate reader cameras. Flock safety and ALPR cameras do not make our communities safer. In fact, it makes our communities less safe. Data from ALPRs has led to wrongful arrests, racial profiling, stalking of ex-partners by the police, detaining documented and undocumented immigrants via collaboration with ICE, and tracking women suspected of having an abortion. A recent study by the Cambridge Journal of Evidence-Based Policing shows that in 75% of cases, flock cameras did not contribute to resolving investigations. In Santa Clarita alone, there are cameras pointed towards and within view of elementary schools, high schools, colleges, retirement homes, bus stops, and residential neighborhoods. Our tax dollars are being used to spy on us and terrorize our neighbors instead of being used to better our community. We did not vote for this. I am asking the Santa Clarita City Council and Sheriff's Department to terminate their contracts with Flock and restrict data sharing for any ALPRs. Thank you.
Daniel Negretta. Daniel will be followed by Janelle Zazveda.
Good evening, Council. The proliferation of government snooping and data collecting is threatening to destroy our traditional freedoms. Government agencies seem to be competing to compile the most expensive dossiers of American citizens. Computerization of records makes it possible to create cradle-to-grave record profiles on every American. What you just heard was the argument in favor of amending the state constitution to list privacy as an explicit right in the 1972 voter guide. Since the legislature has amended Civil Code to include a simple set of requirements for ALPR cameras. Instead, this council has refused to even comply with those simple set of demands. Absolutely no privacy policy exists by the city, as required by section 1798.90.51. If you go 3 sections ahead in section .54, you read that the city is liable for $2,500 fine for every single violation. Every single person here today and every single person driving by those streets has a duty to privacy. They have a duty to be respected. They have a duty for those sets of policies to exist. As is cited by Bartholomew in the 1st District, the city could be liable for millions of dollars. I urge this council to understand the constitutional rights that people have, that citizens hold. And I urge you all to cancel the Flock contract. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Our next speaker will be Janelle. Ma'am, would you please turn around and address the council? Okay. Start the time.
That Moses and the sheriff's department actually work together to stay for all of the properties. Okay, it's important that you guys know that. So Mayor West, I was hoping to say that I had actually met you before, but after 8 months of reaching out to your office asking for a meeting, I have never received a response. So what I've learned as I go through the city is that I need to come here in order to give you guys a to-do list that you know what we want. You can't hear me? Okay. So the first thing is no data centers. I say this out loud and people go, oh, there's never going to be a data center in SCV. And to that I say, great, let's put it in writing. Dave Peterson from the Planning Commission let me know that the way, like if somebody ever wanted to have a data center here, we would have to research that. There's not one dime of the city's money that should be used to research a data center, since nationally we know how bad they are, period. So is that something that you guys can look into? Because I talked to Moses and he said it wasn't something that the city would just do on their own. We needed to tell you. So is that something that you can actually now acknowledge and do, is like no data centers?
Well, I can't have the city council answer you, Janelle. Okay. But when we get done with speaking, I'll make comment, okay?
Okay, great. The next thing is, I listened to you guys today talk about how we all come together to help one another. And I heard you talk about helping the people of Newhall over and over. Where were you when there was a man kidnapped on the street of Newhall by ICE? What is your position on ICE? You guys were on hiatus when they came to town. I know because I called the mayor's office and you were gone. Your staff actually wasn't even going to reach out to you in case it was an emergency. I think stealing our citizens is an emergency. So I'm very curious to understand what this city council's policy is on ICE, because Hispanic Month, that's coming up. All the brown people that are getting taken away from ICE, what are we doing about that? All the brown people. That's who we're going at. We're not doing criminals. We're doing regular people off the street. So what does my city think? Because we know you love arts and crafts. And we know that you want to make a stage. But what are you doing to protect the people in this city? Because you actually work for us. So that's my question. What are you actually doing? Because those are kids. There's brown kids. And you guys don't want to look at me. That's okay. But you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I want to know what my city council's take is on ICE. And I'm not going to thank you.
Our next speaker will be Tim Van Boysen.
Good evening, Mayor West and members of the City Council. My name is Tim Van Boydston, and I am the Executive Artistic Director of the Canyon Theater Guild. And I am here to thank you. And I am here to profusely thank you, and also to commend the City of Santa Clarita on how government works and works well. And some people haven't lived in this city maybe a long time, or not paid attention a long time, don't know exactly how good this city is. No, it's all populated by imperfect people, including the people on the dais. However, go to another city and try to get anything done, anything looked at. It's amazing. This is an amazing city. So I hope everyone out there is listening to this part, because not most cities where the city manager will give you a call at 4:15 in the morning. Thank you, Mr. Striplin. And then I know that he was up earlier than that, because he was going to give me a report on the fact that there was a fire burning next to the Canyon Theater Guild. About 4:30, I got there and spent the next 15 hours on our property just watching how well a city can work. The firemen were magnificent, brave, and in the face of an incredible fire that they put down eventually. The sheriffs creating a perimeter to keep the public safe. The city workers, public works, and county public works, all of these things coordinated to put the fire out, and then to go beyond that, by the end of the day, have the roads, part of the roads open, and by the next morning, have all of the roads open the debris cleared off the sidewalk. And after speaking to, making a couple of calls to City Hall and asking them, is it possible, since our theater suffered so little damage and things were, the air was good, we would like to hold classes. I am proud to be in this city and listen to the kids as they were singing outside my office door today in the building that we have completely recovered. And we will be having theater over the weekend, so we're happy about that. And we're also happy to say that we're going to be hosting 2 of the groups from the Maine as they do their shows that were coming up. I look forward to working with the city, and I look forward to letting everyone know. And remember how good it is to live in a city that works together like this. And all the speakers today, don't worry, you're listened to, and this will be discussed and it will be dealt with. Thank you so much. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Tim Ben. That concludes our public speakers. Do we have any remote speakers?
We have no more requests to speak.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I want to thank everybody for your patience, and it's been a very long day for all of us here on the dais and staff. Thank you, staff. I know you've had a pretty rough couple days. We will adjourn in honor of Rose Kachelny. Thank you, Marcia, for doing that. She was a wonderful lady, and our heart goes out to her family. Our next meeting will be September 8th, and I did want to wrap up with acknowledging one comment on data centers, because I have studied those intensely. And the one thing I didn't know about data centers, and I mentioned this to Ken, is the enormous amount of water they use. Enormous. And if there's one thing that we don't want to waste in the Santa Clarita Valley, it's water. So I think that says it all for me about the problem with that.
You just got to change the code.
And I will now adjourn this meeting. Thank you.